Hello and welcome to the How Do You show with your host Griffinstein. Today we have Danny McLane Jr., my cousin from Jamii Technology. Explain to the people what Jamii is and who you are and everything.
Definitely. So, basically, man, I'm somebody from Richmond, California, the Bay Area, born and raised, and I had the opportunity to just get in contact with a certain type of network, a certain type of teaching and knowledge, right, in terms of engineering, going to school at San Jose State, right, out of high school, right, where a lot of people, don't even get a chance to graduate. You feel me? And we don't have an opportunity. It's not an even playing field as many other people. So, just getting that opportunity, going through some of the things I did growing up, it was life changing. Like we said earlier, it was like, culture shock. You feel me? It's like somebody dumps you into ice bath and said, all right, figure it out. It's how I felt when I came to San Jose. So you mentioned, the company and everything like that. It didn't start like that. I wouldn't say that when I graduated, I thought I'd be where I am now. I knew I wanted to be successful, but I didn't know the steps, right? The 10th step, I didn't know what that looked like. I knew what the next one looked like, right? Which was get out of the certain situation I was in and rebuild myself. And, from there, you just take it day by day, right? It led me to be here doing some of the things we do.
Yeah,
sure. So that's a blessing.
It is. So, because we know what the goal is sometimes, right. But it's the steps. And then who do you go to? Who do you, and like, I know it was certain people that say, oh, you gotta, anytime somebody say, oh, you gotta do it's always. And then some people get help, there's certain immigrants and certain things that, I just talked to a young lady yesterday and she was talking about how she's at middle college and she's really the only black person. It's black people there, but they're Nigerian, they're Eritrean, they're other black, and she's like, well, I'm gonna try to get, these people are saying, I'm gonna try to get this black opportunity because you got immigrant opportunity. It was when we was growing up, it was people getting money just for coming over here. They started more than what we started with. So I know what you're saying. It's rough, especially everybody say go to school. Okay, then now what?
Yeah. And I mean, my parents, neither one of them graduated from college. My dad, amazing, my mom, amazing, but they didn't know what that looked like, right? They just wanted a better life, right? So it's like, whatever that meant.
Yeah.
For my mom, she's like, well, you got to get into the world and get out there. My dad's like, do your research, figure out where the world is going. Look at the news. What are people investing in? What are the new things that are coming out that really impact a lot of lives? And from looking at that, I said, okay, cool, I'm going to do biomedical engineering. I looked at, what's my favorite class and course or my favorite topic, when I'm talking to teachers and speaking about. And I'm like, all right, cool, let me just figure that out. Wasn't a great student at all, right? You know what I'm saying? At all, being honest with you, but, I always had that drive to take it to the next level.
What is biomedical?
Biomedical engineering. So it mixes bio, which is the study of the body, medical devices, and engineering, right? So building those devices.
The diabetes machine.
Yeah, pacemakers. When people get artificial knees, or we talked about the foot earlier.
Yeah. What I'm talking about earlier was right up your alley.
That's a real thing, right? They get paid a lot of money, and they change a lot of lives. So when you said that, I got excited because I know exactly what that's about. I studied that for about 2 or 3 years, and I realized that wasn't for me, right? Just in who I am, my natural abilities, and what I want to do in my life. So you gotta know
that's huge.
Yeah,
that's huge because people go through 8 years of college and then get somewhere and be like, I don't like blood. Like, wait a minute.
Like what? That's part of the job requirement.
Yeah.
You got it. Yeah. So figuring that out, but like you said earlier with the young lady who was in a class and she felt like she didn't identify with anybody around her. Like, I know what that feels like. Like I said, my graduating class, it's maybe 2 or 3 black men that graduated that year. And out of that, only 2 of us went to 4-year college right after school. Not saying this is the right way.
No.
Just breaking down the numbers. Because they always tell us the data of how many people actually gonna make it out alive and make it to 18 and do this. Yeah. They have a college or prison pipeline built at the early age of 3rd or 4th grade. So they looking at these numbers, right? But the numbers say when you go off to college, like being a black male specifically, black and generally, but black male specifically, you're not going to be reflected. You can't identify with it. I'm walking in a class, it's a huge lecture hall, about 300 people. It's 2 of us. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, a lot of times when we come from these areas, we've been bred in a position to where we look at each other as enemies and not as a partner. Yeah. Somebody that can support you and work with you, like a real brother, like, I got you. It's been a situation when you in the same class, we both in college, but somebody looking at you like you competition. It's like, I ain't gotta compete. We should be on the same page. But unfortunately, sometimes that's the reality. Wow. You feel me? And so like you get into these rooms and you barely in college and you're trying to find a way to stay there and be successful. And that's part of the other struggle. Once you make it out of this first struggle, there's another one. And it's like that as long as you live. But so yeah, that's where it started at. But now it's still those same type of things, but it's cool.
Yeah, well, we always trying to learn.
True.
It's so what could help that? Like, because I don't know about BSU or none of all that stuff because you and this is my student, Black Student Union, but you watch different world and stuff, and it's still different. It's still different people. It's rich black people that feel like they're not black people. Mm-hmm. I know people who say, I'm not like regular black people. I read. And
they're black people?
And this is I used to work at the railroad. I won't say cunt. Well, I did say cunt. I'm sorry.
Say what you got to say. Get it out.
Yeah, so that, he watching. Hopefully he is. That was his way of ingratiating himself with non-black people. It's like, I like regular black people. And so it's some people that feel like they have to down you to be accepted in this group of non-black people. So you didn't have to do that. Do you have to do that?
No, definitely not. We was talking about somebody, a mentor of mine, and really close to this black man running an amazing business, multiple businesses, and successful as any person, black, white, yellow, or red. And he's still true to his community, still true to who he is. He's not watering it down or whitewashing anything. So, no, you don't have to be like that. But I think there is, that does exist. There is, just people in general sometimes, being ego-driven. Like, we can try to make ourselves seem more important at the expense of others, right? And that's not the sustainable way.
It's not.
It's destructive. But it works for some people. It's almost like, the pill that, as long as you keep taking it, you'll feel better, but as soon as you stop taking it, then it doesn't help you anymore. So the reason I say that is because, there are people who probably don't mean everything that they're saying, but they're looking for some type of solace within themselves to come to grips with, oh man, I haven't made my dreams happen, or I got these things going on, but I read. I'm better than a person who doesn't read. Like some of the most intelligent people I met haven't read books like we do. Some who read audio, some who are very good listeners, some are researchers. So it's like, there's different forms of learning. And then there's the type of people who may have gotten success, but they get detached from their community and they're not in touch no more. It's like when you unplug something from the wall, it doesn't get that source of electricity. No. So I think that's sometimes those people too, like, man, we just gotta reconnect you into the cycle, get back into the fold.
This W.
Do you think I'm gonna be intimidated?
Yeah. They say I'm heartless, but I'm not though. Don't have to prove it, keep it music. Southside, birth the psycho. A public threat like a sideshow. So gather round, enjoy the sound while the rubber and the pipe smoke. You're having problems with the process. Get in line with the process.
Hope you hear it clearly, all up in your ear like abracadabra. Smoke now
That
disappear.
happens sometimes, and I think that's kind of built in certain systems, right? Where you hear this term of like the token black, right? The token person in this group, and sometimes that can be harmful for that person because now they got to carry the weight of all their history of being a black person in a space that hasn't traditionally been built for that, right? So it's like that affects them mentally, and then they come back and they say shit like
that,
things like that, right? So it's like we gotta watch out for that. So yeah, it's a lot. That's deep.
That's enough, and this is my thing. I stayed away from it because I was like, you already separate yourself from me. Yeah. So now, do you that's with me? Unfortunately, because we talked about it earlier, it's me trying to stay true to what I am, based on what I think I am, and not based on what I really am. And people have this perception of what they are, and they lie to themselves.
But sometimes they don't even know that they lie to themselves. It's like, who taught you to be you? Who taught you to think that way?
Wow.
Right? And it's like, that takes a certain level of vulnerability and reflection to really look at yourself and say, are these realities and beliefs actually mine? Who put that there? How did it get there? There's a stage in all of our lives where we're just sponges to anything.
Yes.
To the images we see on TV, to the things we hear from people, to what we experience, and we start to internalize that stuff, and we hold on to it. And that becomes who we think we are.
Yeah.
But really, that's not true.
Yeah.
Right? So, I've read a lot of books on, metaphysics and just, learning to remove yourself, right? And think in a different way. And it's like those things, you realize that, man, I've been holding on to things that aren't really
real.
It's not real.
It's not even real.
It's a figment of my imagination. So understanding how to disconnect from that and build new morals and new ethics and new values, right? So
Because you just taught me. You just taught me that money is not the root of all evil. People are the root of all evil. So when I because we was just talking about it, I was sitting here like, no, I'm finna give away all my stuff. I'm finna sell all of this. I'm just gonna live on the land and eat spruce trees. You can't do that. Get money. You can get money and still be a good person. But in our community, in my head, I can't be a good person and make money.
Yeah.
So you taught me that just now, and I'm listening. And game, that's the other thing, perspective. If you're looking for game, you can find game in almost anything. Always. And that's the other thing. So, like you said, you said the name is Heal?
So the organization is Roots Community Health Center.
Okay.
And Roots is ran by some amazing people. Dr. Noha Balada is the CEO, right? And she's built that organization to be focused in the community to where it's not detached, it's not one from the other. It is a community. So when we talk about sometimes when like you mentioned, man, I don't want to make a lot of money because I feel like those are bad people. If anybody makes a lot of money, they must be doing something bad. Yeah. And I think sometimes that's one of the things that maybe hurts us because we think of money from that frame. How I've seen some people operate at a world-class level, being black and doing anything, it's like they look at money in business from how many problems can I solve? How many lives can I positively impact? Yes. Can I help this person? Is there a way for me to provide a solution? And if somebody does that and if I'm just helping you solve a problem, and you're willing to pay me part with your hard-earned money to say, hey, help me and solve this problem, I think that's a good thing. As long as both sides are honest and work with each other and ethical and do what they said they're gonna do and are trustworthy, and all that stuff is coming from a good place, right? Yeah. Then there's no harm done, right? That's depending on how you look at it, that's how we live in this country. So to frame, being wealthy as a bad thing, I think can be destructive because we all have to, people living on the streets, there's people living in homes. We gotta think about the people on the streets. A lot of them, if you gave them the chance to be inside of a home, they would love to be.
Yeah.
Right? They would love to, and they deserve it. So why aren't they? Right? Everybody, all these houses we walk past, some of them are empty, some of them are not. And the landlord, whoever, they need rent, right? Because they have to pay something.
They gotta pay somebody.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's not for free. So when we think about it, it's like, man, I don't necessarily think it's money that makes people evil. It's how people can abuse it. How people use it in a wrong way to hurt other people or to, manipulate others.
Yeah.
Like that.
Because they know they need it.
Yeah. So that's when you get into like the evil of it. And it's not the thing, because if the money changed from a dollar bill to a pencil, and now I gotta pay my rent in pencils, you feel me? People are gonna look at pencils a lot different.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily the thing, it's the energy you put into it. And
it's a tool.
Yeah, it's a tool.
And a hammer can kill somebody, but you can't build with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Same
So
That's the hammer. So I think that's the way at least I'll try to look at it in always when I'm building from a place of like, I want to support community, I want to support great ideas, things that are going to help people. If something is a great business opportunity, but I don't believe in it, and I know it's going to hurt people, I'm not going to do it. I have family members who smoke cigarettes, and we know all the thing around cigarettes. They've done so much science and data around it. I don't want to invest in cigarettes.
It's written on it.
Yeah, right. So those are the ethical things we gotta follow when it comes to business. I think if we do that, then we can start seeing, man, this is a tool. I can actually, we talk about roots. Like I'm seeing them hiring people from, just getting out of the prison system.
Wow.
With multiple strikes on their records, and they can't get a job or opportunity anywhere. They're opening up their doors. They're not only hiring them, they're retraining them. They're giving them a place to live. They're helping them get their license, get on their feet, and be respectable. Not saying that not having money, but being a person that
they can be proud of themselves.
Exactly, proud of themselves. And they're giving them the tools. But you can't. It's hard to do that when you don't have money.
You can't.
It's really,
because you don't want everybody living with you. And you can't do that.
So those examples of seeing people like that in my community and so many others where it's like, okay, that's the way it's supposed to be done.
I feel guilty. I feel guilty about it because it's like, but everybody I told it, the job I have, I told everybody to put in for it. I took the job I have, it's like, but I still feel guilty. Yeah. So money is also guilt sometimes because there's so many people that don't have it. But that's what I'm saying.
In that case, though, if you told me about it, you took action, you applied for the job, right? You did what was required, and I didn't do any of that. I wouldn't want you to feel sorry. Yeah. I wouldn't want you to feel bad about it because we both had that same opportunity from that point. Everything else in life, that's different. But like, if we both, in a situation like that, it's an opportunity, bro. Even I'll work with you. Like, look, if we can look at each other's application, we work together to apply. I mean, but in those situations, like, a person has to be willing to help themselves.
Yeah.
And in the moment you want something more than somebody else, it becomes a liability. You can potentially get pulled off track because now all your energy is trying to make this person see and they don't even want to succeed. And if there's something else that's going on, like maybe Brad needs some therapy, right? He's not even at the stage you at, right? He may need to start way back here. You probably done some work on yourself to even get you to a point where you can do that, right? Maybe he has to take a few steps back and he's not ready to take that leap. Like, all right, cool. Let's at least have that conversation, right? And as a man, but sometimes we want to keep things to ourselves. We kind of like that, right? So, but if we can have that real conversation, all right, very cool. Let's trip about the application. One of my good friends, he's a therapist, right? Or there's this platform, and maybe you gotta meet people where they at too. I try to because you try to set the expectation for certain people based on our own expectation. They won't meet it,
and you will be disappointed.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah. And now I'm angry at them for not doing what I would do.
Right. They not you.
Yeah. And that's another thing that I have to keep doing with this.
I gotta learn.
It's a lot of shit I gotta stop.
We all going through it, bro. We all trying to pick up and learn. And that's what it's about. I think the learning, right? Like you talking about how you build your podcast and the ideas there, and even real estate. You mentioned real estate. It's like these things, you gotta be lifelong learners. Lifelong learners.
So market change, things change, people change,
True.
trends change.
True, markets change, everything. So staying on top of it, like that's really what kind of fuels me too, is because I always want to be better. Every day I'm waking up like, what can I do better than I do yesterday? How can I be a better person? And sometimes it's tough to have that conversation because I know I just, I didn't handle that right. All right.
You hear this voice, and it is, you don't hear it, but it's in your, like if you talk inside your head, you're really talking to, I talk to myself.
Right.
Because I
majority of people.
and I do. Sure. And I answer. And sometimes those answers is not, I'm not ready for it. It's like, well, you know that's wrong. So either do it or don't do it, but you know something's gonna come along with that.
True.
And like you said, I know people that keep noise around them. And it's metaphoric, but it's still noise. Some people just keep music all the time going, all the time. Some people keep fuckery going on all around them, all the time. So it's always chaos. The only way I can function in chaos is if I'm trying to fix it. That's the only way I can function in chaos. I can't, day-to-day life, I can't create in chaos. I can't create.
Man, that's powerful on so many different levels. Like, it's this idea of like, so one of the books that I always recommend to people I'm working with is like, it's called the Law of Success by Napoleon Hill. He also wrote about, it's called a mastermind. And that's like one of the first principles. And then the second principle is, having a definite goal. And like that definite goal is like, it's a saying, like if you don't know where you're going, you road to take you. Right? And but once I know I'm going to San Francisco, Salesforce Tower, right on the north side, I know exactly where I'm going. So by doing that, like even being an entrepreneur, like no day is the same. Some people need structure, some people need music when they playing or they working. As an entrepreneur, the noise is so many things coming at you, so many requests, so many responsibilities
addressed.
And some of this stuff is really, really urgent where it has to be done right now. Some of it can wait. Then you gotta know the difference. Then you gotta know how to delegate, who to delegate to.
Yes.
And like all this stuff is happening in one day, and it can feel super chaotic. But we gotta also what I'm learning is like, okay, cool. At the end of the week, all right, it was chaotic. A lot of things happen. I can't predict everything, but I know where I'm going.
Yep.
So I might go this way.
Not going that way.
Not that way.
That's not the right way.
So it's chaotic in the middle. Everything is just wild. That's think about the body. Like the body can listen and taste and talk, and for women create another human being all at the same time. That's a chaotic system.
Yes.
But it's a definite goal, and we know where we're going. So it's like, some things it's just noise. Like I don't like getting into drama. I don't like arguing.
No, I don't argue.
I don't want to do those things, right? Because it's going backwards.
It is backwards.
Some arguments are good, right? But non-productive ones, non-constructive ones, we're not doing that. But going in this direction, I know that, okay, I may make a right here, I may have to make another U-turn, but I'm going this way.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, you know, it's a real thing with distraction, especially these days. You got that computer in your pocket.
Building that traction.
Yeah.
And knows what you like.
Right.
Listens to what you, I said Nike, and then there was a whole.
Now you see his Nike ads, you like,
Like, I like these.
Yeah.
And you can hit the button and buy them right now. It's a lot of distractions. It's a lot of distractions.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing being in like tech engineering, building software and apps. Like we build apps, websites, we do video production. So basically, we're a full service, professional service company.
Wow.
Full service. Yeah, so Jamii is a full service digital agency. So we work with our clients to build websites, mobile applications, and other type of platforms. And we have a full software development team across the company. It's about 23 people, including myself.
That's huge, man.
Yeah.
Cause no. So let me. I don't
But
like.
it's another level to it.
I know. But it's not. But I'm trying not to say but. From somebody, because you're younger than me, I'm 48, and I know it's just for me to see it. For some, you got employees. Yeah. I've been an employee my whole life. I've never been nothing but an employee or an unemployed employee. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah,
it's like I'm always looking for a job. I'm looking for somebody to give me opportunities. You're giving opportunities. That I just wanted to stop and say, that's something. That's something. And I was always tripping on the word proud because I remember telling this lady, I was like, man, I'm proud of you. And she's like, you proud of me? You ain't my daddy or nothing. So her negativeness made me stop using the word proud. But
I accept that.
Yeah. I'm proud to be of whatever it is you are. And it's something to attain. It's a goal. So I'm sorry. Yeah, full service.
Yeah, I mean that's good, man. I thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. And you know, like again, like none of this stuff was given to me.
Yeah.
You know, like nobody bankrolled or invested in my company when I first started it. You know, I didn't have any clients. I didn't have my parents didn't teach me the ropes. You know, it wasn't like that. Right? So it's like from the ground up. You know, it was based on the idea of bettering myself. Like I knew if I really wanted to attain those things, I had to bet on myself 100%. You know, like every day I wake up, I gotta go and get it. I remember, you know, in college, I met this brother, my mentor, one of my mentors, Michael George, and you know, from Trinidad to Tobago, he set me down talking about real estate and business and how things work outside of academia. And I started to see another path. And then, you know, I started my business when I went to school, and being an engineer, you know, told my parents like that, you know, hey, like go to college and get a job, cool. And I remember getting 2 job offers from some Fortune 500 companies here in Silicon Valley. And entry stage, but they gave me a path to be 6 figures in 18 months. And you know, starting off was cool too, coming from those college days. So I remember having this conversation with my parents and like me saying, you know what, y'all, I think I'm gonna decline those offers. Take this business that's not generating any money, and yeah, I'm gonna do that after I graduate. You can imagine that conversation, right?
Yeah,
you know, they look at it.
A lot of hell.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But
only because they knew what's best for you.
Yeah,
they thought. You know.
True, and that's what the world says to do. Go to school, go to college, right? This is the way to be quote unquote successful. But like, you know, through conversations and seeing. You mentioned this earlier, like, man, I haven't seen anybody like good with money or being black and being successful. It's like I had an opportunity to see somebody like that know it's possible. So by looking at that, I'm saying, okay, they offer me, say it's $80,000 my first year, and you know, after I go through the training, it's $115 per year. Out of college, you know, being early 20s, like, okay, cool, I'll do that. But I know that I'm also, you know, my value is being set by someone else. And they're putting a ceiling on what I'm worth and what I can attain financially. I don't like that. And just being in, just, you know, talking to mentors, being in multi-level marketing, right? Understanding like, hey, you gotta really pound the pavement and go to work if you want to build substantial wealth, which in this case, right, is good. I'm helping others, right? I said I gotta decline those offers. And I remember graduating, after graduation, you know, it was a regular day. You know what I mean? And I just had to go out. I would go to the library, probably 2 blocks or 3 blocks away from where I lived at the time. I'm living in the living room, you know, not even bigger than this. This is bigger than almost the whole house.
Goddamn.
Right? So the living room is like, you know, this much space. And I'm waking up every day and I'm going to the library. They have a career business center. I'm making calls, I'm sending emails, but I'm really putting in the work because I know if I go as hard as I go, I'll be rewarded, and there's no cap to it. You know, so I went in that direction. It took some time. Like, you know, it wasn't easy, and you know, you got to sacrifice a lot, and you know, stay in and stay up. You don't go out Fridays. I can't hang out with you know. So it's like you got to change your life, in a drastic way. And some people don't want to do that. So you know, the opposite is short-term satisfaction, right? Like, okay, you got. There's nothing wrong with having a job. Like that's
no.
Yeah, nothing at all.
Yeah.
But like for people who want to actually build a business and grow it to a large level and have some creative idea or just want to go in that direction, you got to sacrifice and have more than bet on yourself. Sure. And you got it though. Like we talk about, you know, podcasts, we talk about real estate. Like them is all ideas that's proven to be, you know, substantial businesses, huge businesses.
You just got to put the time in and grow your audience. And with the real estate though, that real estate kind of scares me only because of the fluctuation of it. So you will have something that's worth something. Like you said, it's a pencil. It's a coin today. Right. It's a pencil tomorrow. Nobody see. You know, it's nothing. But if patience, that's what I had to learn is patience. Once you get that patience, though, that pencil can turn back into whatever you need it to be, and however you choose to use it. Because, like you said, what if I just say, okay, I'm gonna keep this piece of property and I'm gonna use it as transitional housing. Exactly. So now I'm helping people and I'm getting So now I'm getting people in there that's helping and I'm getting a check from the state or the federal. So it's really your mind got to be open. How can your mind be open? Which brings me, how important is mentors? You mentioned a couple. How important are mentors?
Man, I think that's everything, right? I mean, if you can, you know, have a mentor, right? Get one. Find one, and it's not about necessarily saying, "Hey, I'll just pay somebody to be my mentor." And you know, it needs to be some type of synergy with you and that person. But like that'll speed up some of the process because you know my dad used to tell me he was like, "Hey, if I walked around this block 100 times and I know at the under the corner it's a pit bull, and that pit bull, you know, it's in the yard, but the door is loose so it can get out." And I tell you that, you know, be careful, don't walk over there because that pit bull gonna bite you. From experience, if I know that and I can learn from just him telling me that, then I can save myself some harm and some trouble. And you know, sometimes you gotta learn the hard way. You gotta go around the block and get bit maybe once or twice.
Or at least see the dog.
Yeah. Like, oh,
there's a dog
here. Yeah. And sometimes you gotta verify and validate for yourself, right? That's part of, you know, just being who you are as your own individual person. Verify, validate. But don't put yourself in harm's way because somebody already did that. We all stand on the shoulders of somebody. Somebody made these chairs, right? Somebody made cameras. We didn't do that, but we stand on their shoulders. So when you got a mentor, they can bring you in and give you some of their advice and save you some time in that process. So that's been monumental to me. You know, I'm thankful for all of my mentors, right? Because they all, you got different mentors for different things. Some for religious and spiritual, some for politics, some for academia, some for whatever your interest is, right? And that you take what you need and you leave what you don't. Right? Just keep it pushing. Bro. Yeah.
It makes sense. I don't think I've ever had a mentor, but I think for me it's more like we were talking about earlier, self-awareness. And so the world is my mentor because I'm looking for game.
That's true.
So if I'm looking for game, I lost my camera. And I'm gonna keep bringing it up because it hurt. I don't care. I lost my camera, so I'm trying to find meaning in it.
Right.
And I'm like, well, maybe that means I should step back and do music, or maybe that means something else. Let's see who's going to not call on that. And Jill Scott said something that was, I don't know, but it was. She said, you can tell me what to do if you can tell me what to do. But if you can't tell me what to do, you can't tell me what to do.
True, exactly.
So that's what people think that if I'm saying I'm trying to point you in a direction, you think I'm trying to tell you what to do because I haven't did it. You say, well, you can't tell me what I'm doing. You can't tell me this because you haven't even been through it. I was at the door. I can tell you how to get to that door. Yeah. You got to find another mentor to get you past that.
Yeah, that's what happens too. Like, I think each stage of your life requires a new version of yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And that's because what you know has brought you to where you are. Right? If you want to stay in the same place next year, 2 years from now, then, hey,
so be it.
Do your thing. But when you want to go to that next level, you got to seek it intentionally. Right? Like you said, get you to that door, but how you going to get through it? And I've seen that through people around me, mentors, myself.
Yeah.
I'm not the same person I was, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or even last month. I learned some things in this last month that substantially changed my life, right? So, like, those things, like, like you said, having a mentor, it's like, sometimes we don't do that, right? And the mentor can be younger than you, or it could be someone the same age. Like, and, I got mentors who don't look like me, who are in different parts of the country, or some are younger than me, some are a lot older than me, some in different areas. And I'm just always, like you said, seeking knowledge.
Yeah.
Somebody knows something. When you talk about housing, I got somebody in my network, and that's all he does. So he knows how to, even when they talk about interest rates is going up, man, that's for the general public. You feel me?
And I was just, because it didn't make sense to me. I was like, why is everybody getting, I have to look at who's getting upset. I'm saying, well, but what does this matter? What does this matter? And you just gotta ask the question so that you can try to answer.
True.
So yeah, I'm sorry. It's just when you say something, it resonates, and I'm like, I'm not the only one that think this.
Yeah,
like, God damn it! Where are these people at? I need to change my circle.
True. I mean, man, I know what you're talking about, bro. Yeah. Sometimes it's just you gotta do it on your own first. You said the person who didn't fill out the application. Yeah. Okay, cool. We still good, but I know when it's time to fill out the application, I need to find somebody. So, like, I learned this in school. Like, I would sit by the person who was maybe one of the smartest in the class, or make those friends, or go to the study hall afterwards. Even if I feel out of place, I may not know all the answers. They may look at me. I don't care how they look at me, actually, because I ain't none of my business. But I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna do what I need to do and get what I can from it and be a good person while I'm there. I may crack a few jokes and then I'm on my way. But I done picked up a lot of lessons from here, and I'm all right, cool, let me apply it. Now I'm doing better in my classes. So it's like sometimes we gotta get out of that comfort zone too, like, because I do it too.
You just you gave me, that's the second lesson that you gave me.
I mean, this is all, I'm not saying.
No, I don't know.
I'm learning too. Like, so it's like going through this process now, and I'm like, bro, I can think about how that happened last week. Yeah. So it's, But it's not it's not, so when I say it, it's not a thing like, you're not motherfucking me at all. It's just, I'm looking for game. I'm always looking for game. So when I should say, maybe I say it that way. Maybe I say, you put me up on game on that one because I'm in certain areas where I don't feel comfortable. And basically, you told me to get over it. In other words, get over it and be you. That's none of your business how they perceive you. What are you there to do? You trying to get the Salesforce, man, through it by any means. Mm-hmm. So, you gotta be uncomfortable with that. I mean, when I say that too, like, I'm thankful that anything I can say helps anybody.
Yes.
Right? Because I'm a flawed person too, and I'm working on myself, and I'm figuring it out. Some days ain't as good as other days, right? So when you say that, like, I feel proud, but maybe, getting the word. Yeah. But I'm thankful for that. I appreciate it because, some things, like you said, we work these things out in our head. And we don't know if it's right or wrong until we go in trash, but, hear some validation from somebody that I know and respect and love, like, that means a lot.
Yeah, that's the point. Thank you. But that's also the thing. It's also people that look like you telling you, nigga, that's gay. You doing something. Because you don't get that. You walk through there, I mean, I don't mean this in a bad way, but even my mama, she be like, well, like he was like, that's workable. Yeah. This is the best thing I've ever done in I'm a DJ.
Yeah.
From Jamii Technology, and
That's good, man.
do you have like a last word, like what you would want something to say to people?
I appreciate this conversation too. I think this was fun. It was enlightening to me. It was good to have these dialogues. Right? I think in terms of what we're doing, we got a website, JamiiTech.com. We're working on a lot of cool stuff. Just stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
For sure.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This has been your episode of How Do You View You with your host, Griffinstein. Thanking DJ from Jamii Technology. Peace, niggas.